Oh, welcome to Soulful Saturdays with Saylor. That's me. This is where we empower your spirit and build a strong sense of self. This is your sacred space for heart-centered conversations, soulful reflections, and that truth that sets you free. Every week we pause, breathe, and reconnect to the most important relationship in your life, the one with you. So grab your journal, light a candle, or just take a breath. You're exactly where you need to be. You ever hit that moment where your soul whispers, enough? Like, really, enough. Not that kind that you say when you're tired, but and you just keep on pushing. No, I'm talking about that deep soul level. I can't do this anymore, kind of enough. The kind where your body starts saying no before your mouth ever does. You're smiling at the party, answering the texts, nodding politely, and inside, you're done. And here's the thing. It's not that you're angry. It's not that you're bitter. You're just tired. Tired of holding everything together while you're quietly falling apart. Tired of stretching yourself thin to keep everyone else comfortable. Tired of saying yes when every cell in your body is screaming, no. Well, this episode's for you. For the woman who's not trying to be mean. She's just done settling for one-sided friendships, done settling for being emotional sponge in the room, done settling for the relationships that only work when she does all the bending. She's not mad. She's just done making herself small. And maybe, just maybe, you're realizing this too. That protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's sacred. That those boundaries, they're not walls, they're bridges to your truth. That loving yourself means something. And sometimes it's disappointing others. It is. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what happens when you stop performing peace and start protecting it like it's your paycheck. Because your worth is non-negotiable. And starting today, you don't have to prove anything to anyone to own that. That's right. You don't have to prove anything to anyone to own that your worth is non-negotiable. So go ahead, pull up that chair now, right? And let's get into this. Let's get into honesty. You know what's wild about all this? We were never taught how to say no with love. We were taught how to say yes with a smile, even when it hurt. Because somewhere along the way, someone decided that being nice was more important than being whole. There's this quiet myth a lot of us internalize, the idea that nice girls don't say no. Nice girls don't rock the boat. Nice girls don't ask for too much. Nice girls are agreeable, easygoing, low maintenance. And let me tell you, being called low maintenance was supposed to be a compliment. Like, we're better if we need less. Less space, less rest, less care, less attention. But you know what I realized? Low maintenance is often just high self-abandonment, dressed up in a cute little label. And that's exhausting. We're out here overextending, overgiving, and overperforming in the name of love and keeping the peace. But whose peace are we actually protecting? Because it's usually not yours. And don't get me wrong. We do it with the best intentions. We say yes because we care. We don't want to hurt anyone else's feelings. We don't want to be seen as selfish, difficult, or too much. But what we don't realize is that every time we say yes when we mean no, every time we betray that little girl, that little gut whisper, every time we shove our needs to the bottom to the list, we're telling ourselves, you don't matter as much. And that message builds. It stacks up over time until we're sitting there wondering why we feel resentful, tired, disconnected from ourselves. It's because we've been operating on this belief that love requires sacrifice. But let's be real. Love doesn't have to cost you. See, nobody handed us a boundary blueprint growing up. Lord, I wish they did. But we were praised for being easy. We got attention for being flexible. We felt safe when we didn't take up too much space. But low maintenance doesn't mean low value. And being agreeable doesn't mean you're aligned. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say, no, that doesn't work for me. No, I'm not available for that. No, I'm not shrinking to make you more comfortable anymore. And yes, at first, the guilt shows up. That stomach knot, that little voice that says, you're being selfish. But what I've come to learn is that guilt doesn't always mean that you're doing something wrong. Sometimes it means you're doing something new, something unfamiliar, and something powerful. Because you are not here to be palatable. You're here to be powerful. And part of stepping into that power is finally, unapologetically choosing you. No, what if there's another way? What if we've had it backwards? What if love actually includes limits? Like, what if boundaries aren't about pushing people away, but about pulling yourself back to you? We've been taught to think that love means being available 24/7, being the fixer, the forgiver, the emotional Sherpa. What if love means saying, I love you, and I'm not abandoning myself for you anymore? Yeah, that one hits, right? Because here's the shift. What if protecting your energy is the most loving thing you can do? Not just for you, but for them too. Let's be real. No one gets the best version of you when you're burned out, resentful, and fried from people pleasing. Your yes means nothing if it's coming from a place of obligation or fear. It's just performative peace. And listen, you're not performing anymore. This is the part where you stop pretending that self-love is the spa days and the eucalyptus candles. And girl, that's maintenance. It's nice, but real self-love, it's bold. It's boundary setting. It's you saying, I love myself enough to disappoint you if it means honoring my truth. And I know that sounds tough. And I know it makes your stomach twist. But what if your no is the most loving thing you say all week? Think about that. What if your no gives someone else permission to start honoring their own truth? Because here's the thing nobody tells you. When you set a boundary, it's not a wall, it's a bridge. It's a bridge to move more honest version of yourself, to be more present version of your relationships, to a life that's aligned with what actually feels good, not just what looks good from the outside. And I get it. This shift feels radical when you're used to being the one who holds it all together. But you don't have to carry it all anymore. You just have to carry you. So what if this week you choose you just once? What would that change? Well, let's talk about that. Okay, so let me tell you a story of the first time I set a real boundary. And I mean, one of those soul shaking, hand trembling, stomach flipping boundaries that you feel in your bones. There is this relationship in my life, someone I love deeply. Not just the all I care about you love. I'm talking soul tied, deep woven into your life. Can't imagine letting them down kind of love. This person had a way of needing me all the time, emotionally, logically, energetically. And for the longest time, I thought being available for them 24/7 was made me love them. It was my way of loving. And I thought that was love. And so I kept showing up, even when I was depleted, even when my gut was saying, Cindy, this isn't love, it's emotional labor, unpaid, unreciprocated. And even when I would hang up the phone and cry because I felt like I didn't even have 15 minutes in a day that belonged to me. But I stayed on that hamster wheel because the thought of setting a boundary felt terrifying. And what if they got mad? What if they thought I didn't love them anymore? What if I was being selfish? And then one day I hit that moment. You know, the one where your soul whispers, enough. I remember I was sitting in my car, gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing holding me together. Maybe you've been there. I had just left a conversation where I said yes again to something I didn't even have the capacity for. And I just sat there thinking, what am I doing? Why am I the one bleeding so they don't have to bruise? That night I made a decision. I sent a message that simply said, hey, I love you, but I can't keep showing up like this. I'm not okay. I need to take some space to care for myself. And then I threw my phone across the room because I was that scared of what they'd say. And you know what? What surprised me the most wasn't their response. It was the silence inside me. For the first time in years, I didn't feel that anxious buzzing in my chest. I didn't feel like I was betraying myself. I felt peace. Uncomfortable peace, sure, but peace, nonetheless. And then it wasn't perfect. They were hurt. They didn't get it right away. But that moment was a turning point because it was the first time I chose me. And I'm telling you this not because I did it gracefully or without fear. I did it messy. I did it shaking. I did it. And if I could sit across from you right now, friend to friend, heart to heart, and you were telling me, I don't know if I could set that boundary. I feel bad. I feel selfish. I'd grab your hand and look you dead in the eye and say, you are not selfish for needing space. You are not mean for wanting peace. You are not wrong for wanting to be okay. You get to choose you. You get to be loving and have limits. You get to say, this version of me deserves rest, deserves respect, deserves room. And you don't need anyone's permission to claim that. So yeah, the first time I set a boundary, it wasn't magical. It wasn't cinematic. It was awkward and emotional and absolutely necessary. And it was the moment I stopped abandoning myself in the name of love. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. Let's get real about what actually happens when you start loving yourself out loud. First off, you start attracting healthier connections. Yeah, I said it. People who get you, people who respect your time, your energy, your vibe, the ones who don't guilt trip you for saying no. The ones who celebrate when you put yourself first because they know it means you're showing up fully for them and for yourself. And here's the juicy truth. When you start owning your worth, you stop explaining yourself. No more justifying every boundary. No more over apologizing for needing space. You just say it clear, calm, confident, and the world, it adjusts. Not because you forced it, but because you finally claimed your seat at the table. And that's when the big realization hits. You're not responsible for how people feel about your boundaries. You're responsible for your energy, your peace, your sanity, and that's enough. So many of us spend years trying to keep everyone else comfortable, making sure no one's feelings get bruised. And the truth is, when you're living out loud, loving yourself fiercely, some people will get uncomfortable. Some people will get upset. That's on them, not you. Because when you start honoring your worth, the world has no choice but to catch up. It's not about pushing people away or burning bridges. It's about finally choosing you, choosing your peace, your joy, your whole damn self. And let me tell you, that's revolutionary. That's the kind of love that shakes your soul awake. That's the kind of love that transforms you, shows up in every room, every relationship, every moment. It's transformative. So what changes? You change. And suddenly, your life feels bigger, brighter, more you than ever before. And girl, that's worth every messy, shaky step it took to get there. So before we go, here's a little love note that I want to leave with you today. And this week, I want you to practice saying no with love, not with guilt, not with a 5-paragraph explanation or endless apologies. Nope, just love. Because protecting your peace, that's not just a choice. It's a revolutionary act, a radical declaration that your heart, your time, your energy, they matter. And baby, your inner queen, she deserves nothing less. So when the next invitation request, or can you just, shows up, listen to that whisper inside. Lean into that fierce love for yourself that says, no, thank you. I'm choosing me. And watch what happens when you do. When you put yourself first, you don't lose at anything. You gain everything. Because loving yourself out loud, that's how you start living the life that you were made for. So go on now. Practice that no. Say it loud, say it proud. And know that you're stepping into your power, one boundary at a time. You've got this. I see you. And I'm cheering you every step of the way. So if you've been searching for anything fun and easy to sprinkle some more peace and clarity in your life, please check out my ebook. It's The Path to Calm and Clarity, The Gifts of Intentional Breathing. And if this conversation felt like a breath of fresh air, I'd love for you to subscribe and keep walking this journey with me. There's so much more goodness to come, and I am grateful that you're here. This is Soulful Saturdays with Saylor, where we empower your spirit and build a strong sense of self. Stay true, stay fierce, and keep showing up as the real you.